What if the most breathtaking transformation isn't from unknown trainee to global superstar, but from global superstar to timeless muse? Because something quietly historic is unfolding around Jin right now. Not in a stadium, not under fireworks, not even through a new single, but on canvas. Inside the Fine CC exhibition space in Dangjin, at the Incheon International Art Exhibition, visitors are walking through halls filled with color, technique, experimentation. Paintings that compete for attention, textures layered with intention, and then they stop. In front of one piece, an oil painting. At the center stands Jin, but this isn't a glossy magazine cover recreation. It's not a hyper-realistic celebrity portrait meant to imitate a photograph. It's interpretive, emotional, almost lyrical in its construction. Behind him, blooming blue wildflowers stretch across the canvas. Not flat, not decorative, they feel alive. The brushstrokes are energetic, verdant greens sweeping across the field, purples layered in movement, each petal textured as if breathing. Nature doesn't sit behind him, it surrounds him. He stands in a white shirt, simple, almost symbolic in its purity. His posture is calm, his expression stable, his gaze soft, yet grounded. There is no performance in his eyes, no attempt to dazzle. Instead, there is stillness. And that stillness changes everything. Visitors have reportedly paused in front of the painting, saying, "This feels different from photographs," and his soft image blends beautifully with the flowers. That reaction matters, because photographs capture appearance. Paintings capture interpretation. This artwork doesn't just reproduce Jin's face, it translates his aura. It reimagines a globally recognized musician through the language of fine art, through oil, texture, symbolism, through composition that suggests harmony between human presence and nature. And here's what elevates this moment even further. The artist, Kim Young-mi, is not positioned as a mainstream commercial painter. She paints as a hobbyist, driven by passion rather than industry machinery. Yet her work featuring Jin earned an award at the 2025 Incheon International Art Exhibition, formally acknowledging her technical mastery and expressive strength. An award-winning piece, inspired by Jin. That means the subject was not treated as a passing pop reference. He was chosen deliberately, studied, interpreted, elevated. This isn't fan merchandise, this is cultural documentation. And if you step back for a second, that realization feels profound. Because Jin has already conquered the stage. He has stood before tens of thousands of people. He has commanded arenas with nothing but his voice and presence. But now, he's standing still in a painted field, and somehow it feels just as powerful. That transition from kinetic performer to serene artistic symbol signals something deeper than popularity. It signals permanence. And almost simultaneously, in a completely different sphere, another kind of confirmation arrives. The Korea Enterprise Reputation Research Institute releases its February 2026 advertising model brand reputation rankings. Out of 35,152,936 pieces of advertising model big data analyzed between January 11 and February 11, BTS ranks first. Their brand reputation index reaches 1,509,057. That's an 86.76% increase compared to January, in 1 month. Let's break that down. This index isn't emotional hype. It's calculated through participation index, media index, communication index, and community index. It measures consumer behavior patterns, online engagement, media exposure, public sentiment, relationship strength between brand and audience. And the positivity ratio attached to BTS's advertising brand analysis? 92.57%. 92% positive. In a digital landscape that amplifies criticism faster than praise, that number speaks volumes. The link analysis for BTS highlighted keywords like collaborate, positive, and increase. And the keyword analysis surfaced arirang, K-beauty, and K-food. Which means something important. BTS isn't just seen as entertainers. They are associated with national identity, cultural export, economic influence. They represent modern Korea in commercial language. And within that collective brand power stands Jin. So look at the contrast unfolding at the same time. In one space, an award-winning painter captures him surrounded by wildflowers, calm, poetic, almost ethereal. In another space, algorithms measure his group's impact on consumer markets, media cycles, and communication networks. One is emotional, one is analytical, one is oil and canvas, one is data and percentages. And he exists powerfully in both. That duality is rare, Some celebrities dominate headlines but never transcend into art. Some figures become artistic symbols but lack measurable commercial force. Jin is moving across boundaries: stage, gallery, music, fine art, celebrity, cultural icon. And the exhibition itself demonstrates something quietly revolutionary. Images from popular culture can cross into the language of pure art without losing depth. The painting doesn't scream idol. It whispers presence. It doesn't exaggerate charisma. It refines it. There's something deeply moving about seeing someone known for his voice interpreted in silence. Seeing someone associated with performance portrayed in stillness. Seeing someone whose life is measured in decibels reimagined in brushstrokes. It suggests that his narrative has expanded, that his image holds symbolic weight, that his existence is not confined to a single medium. And when you combine that with nearly 93% positive brand sentiment, an 86% growth surge in reputation index, and first-place dominance among dozens of major public figures, including artists, actors, athletes, and broadcasters, you start to see the full picture. Influence isn't shrinking, it's evolving. Jin is no longer only a performer admired for visuals, vocals, or stage presence. He is becoming referential, a source, a muse, an idea artists and industries orbit around. The exhibition proves that his impact can inspire texture and color. The data proves that his name drives measurable economic and communicative power. And what makes this transformation even more compelling is how understated it feels. There's no loud proclamation that he has become art. There's just a painting. There's no dramatic announcement of brand dominance. There's just data climbing quietly, steadily upward. Sometimes the most powerful influence isn't explosive, it's expansive. It spreads across mediums, across industries, across interpretations. From blooming wildflowers on a canvas, to billions of digital impressions across advertising ecosystems. From a calm gaze in oil paint, to a 1.59 million brand reputation index. That's not coincidence. That's cultural momentum. And maybe that's the most emotional realization of all. He doesn't need to move to command attention anymore. He can stand still, and the world continues to gather around him.